Tom lived in a small town near the outer spaceport. The town was quiet, with low buildings made of soft gray stone and metal. Ships landed and took off every day, but people mostly kept to themselves. Tom worked at a small repair shop, fixing tools and machines. He liked peaceful days, warm tea, and watching stars at night. One morning, as he walked to work, Tom saw something unusual. Near the large water tank by the docking station, a girl stood alone. Her skin was smooth and soft teal, and her hair was silver like moonlight. She looked young, maybe his age, but she wasn't human. Her eyes were large and kind, but also a little scared. Her clothes were strange, long, flowing, with tiny symbols stitched into the sleeves. She looked around slowly, as if searching for something, but didn't ask anyone. People passed by, glancing at her, but nobody stopped. Tom paused. Then he walked over. "Hey," he said gently, "are you okay?" The girl blinked at him. She didn't speak at first, just tilted her head. Then, softly, she replied, "I do not know this place. I am not sure where I should go." Her voice was calm and soft, like a quiet song. Tom smiled kindly. "My name's Tom," he said. "Do you need help?" She hesitated, then gave a small nod. "I'm Nira," she said. Tom didn't ask many questions. He could see she was tired, maybe scared, and not ready to talk much. So he led her to a small bench under a tall metal tree where shadows kept the sun away. He bought her a warm drink from a streetcar. She held the cup carefully and took tiny sips. "Thank you," she said. "People here, they look but do not speak. They're just not used to visitors," Tom said. "But it's okay. You're safe." Nira relaxed a little. She watched the small ships fly by, their lights blinking in the sky. She still held something tight in her hand, a small square card, glowing faintly blue, but she didn't show it. After a while, Tom offered her some food from his bag. She took it politely and ate slowly. The food must have tasted strange to her, but she didn't complain. When the sun began to set, Tom asked, "Do you have a place to stay?" She shook her head. "There's a guest room above the shop where I work," Tom said. "It's not fancy, but it's clean. You can stay there if you want." Nira looked at him, surprised. "Why would you help me?" she asked. Tom thought for a moment. "You looked like you needed a friend," he said. "That's enough." They walked back to the shop. It was quiet at night, and the stars began to shine above. Tom showed her the small room upstairs. It had a soft bed, a table, and a window that looked out over the port. Nira stepped inside slowly, looking around as if it were the first room she'd ever seen. Tom handed her a blanket and some clean clothes left by a traveler who never returned for them. "I'll be downstairs if you need anything," he said. She nodded. Before he could leave, Nira walked over to him. She opened her hand and held out the small glowing card. "For you," she said. Tom looked at it. The card was smooth, light, and shimmered with soft blue light. It had strange lines drawn across it, like a map or code. He didn't know what it was. "What is it?" he asked. She answered quietly, "A key. It opens many things." Tom didn't fully understand, but he took the card carefully. It was warm to the touch. "Thank you," he said. Nira gave a small smile. "You helped me, so I help you." That night, Tom sat in his small room and looked at the card under the lamp. It didn't look like a normal keycard. It felt special, important, but he didn't know why. He placed it safely in a box under his desk. The stars outside twinkled gently, and the town was silent. Tom didn't know it yet, but helping a lost girl that day would open a path to something far bigger than he ever imagined, and it all began with kindness. The next morning, Tom woke up early. The sun was just rising, painting the sky soft orange. He got dressed, brushed his hair, and went upstairs to check on Nira. He knocked gently on the door. "Nira, you okay?" After a short pause, she opened the door slowly. She looked calm and rested. Her silver hair shimmered in the soft light. "Yes," she said. "Thank you, Tom. I feel better." Tom smiled. "I'm glad. Come downstairs when you're ready. I'll make tea." They sat at the small table near the shop window. Nira looked out often, as if searching for something, but she didn't speak much. She still held her long sleeves close, and her eyes sometimes looked far away. Tom wanted to understand more about the card she gave him, but he didn't want to push her. Still, curiosity grew in his mind after breakfast. Tom placed the key card in his jacket pocket. He walked to the town library, a quiet place filled with old computers and scanning machines. A friendly robot sat behind the desk. "Can I scan something?" Tom asked. "Of course." The robot replied cheerfully. Tom slid the card into the scanner. The machine lit up, buzzed quietly, and then nothing. Just a blinking message, a known format, not recognized. He tried again. Same result. "Huh?" Tom whispered. He looked at the soft blue glow of the card. "What are you?" He thanked the robot and left the library. As he walked past the spaceport, he noticed something strange. When he walked near the large metal gate of the old research domain area, most people avoided. The card in his pocket began to glow brighter. Tom stopped. He looked at the gate. It was tall, rusty, and locked with a thick panel that flashed red whenever someone got too close. He took a step forward. As he neared the panel, the card glowed even more. It felt warm inside his pocket. The panel blinked once yellow but didn't open. Tom stepped back quickly, heart beating faster. "Okay," he whispered. "That's new." He looked around. Nobody was watching. He didn't want to break any rules, and he wasn't sure if opening a locked building was allowed. Even if the card tried to do it, he decided to wait. Maybe Nira could tell him more. That evening, they sat outside the shop, watching the stars appear one by one. Nira held a cup of warm tea with both hands. The quiet air made Tom feel safe. "Nira," he said gently, "the card you gave me. It's special, isn't it?" She didn't answer right away. Then she nodded. "Yes, it is not just a card. It remembers places. It opens doors that were forgotten." Tom leaned forward slightly. "Does it belong to you?" She looked down at her tea. "No, it was given to me long ago by someone important, but I cannot keep it anymore. It is not safe with me." Tom frowned. "Why not?" Nira looked into the distance. "Because others are searching. Not for me, maybe, but for what I have." Tom didn't understand everything, but he could feel that Nira was being honest. She looked sad and careful, like someone who had been hiding for a long time. "Do you think they'll come here?" Tom asked. "Maybe," she whispered. "But this town is small, quiet. I hope they wouldn't find it." Tom nodded slowly. He thought about the research dome again, the way the panel glowed yellow when he came close. "Today," he said softly, "I walked past the old dome, the one near the port. The card, it reacted." Nira's eyes widened just slightly. "It did?" "Yes." It glowed. The panel changed color. "Do you know what's inside that building?" "I don't know everything," Nira said carefully, "but I know it is not just a dome. Long ago, there were many places like it. My people helped build them with others. They were made to hold things, store knowledge, hide memories." Tom's mind spun. "Why are they hidden?" "Because time changes," Nira said. "People forget. Some things are better forgotten. But sometimes the doors call to those who are ready." Tom looked at the card again. It rested quietly on the table between them, glowing softly like a sleeping star. "Why did you give it to me?" he asked. Nira looked at him. "Because you helped me when you didn't have to. You asked nothing. You were kind." Tom didn't know what to say, so he said nothing. The stars above twinkled, and a soft breeze passed between them. Later that night, as Tom closed the shop and Nira went upstairs, two quiet strangers walked into town. They wore long dark coats and had soft voices. They didn't cause trouble. They just asked gentle questions. "Have you seen a girl?" one of them asked the local food seller. "Silver hair, quiet eyes." "No," the seller said, shaking his head. "No girl like that here." The strangers smiled politely and moved on. They didn't look dangerous. The next few days felt strange to Tom. Nira stayed mostly indoors, helping around the shop quietly. She smiled sometimes, especially when Tom fixed something quickly or told her about Earth's silly machines. But her eyes still watched the window, often, and she never went far from the building. Tom kept thinking about the card. Every time he touched it, it felt warm, almost like it was alive. He carried it in a small case in his pocket, but part of him wanted to know more. The research. Dawn called to him. One night, when the stars were clear and the town was quiet, Tom made a decision. He told Nira he was going out to buy something. She nodded without question, but her eyes followed him to the door. Tom walked quickly toward the old dome near the edge of the spaceport. The building was still and silent, with a round roof covered in dust and age. No one ever went there. Most people believe it was broken, or maybe too old to care about, but Tom knew better now. He stepped closer to the large metal door. As he did, the card in his pocket began to glow again stronger this time. When he took it out, it shimmered blue and silver, and the patterns on its surface moved like water. Tom held the card up to the panel on the door. The panel, usually red and silent, turned green with a soft hum. The door opened with a slow, smooth sound. It was the first time it had opened in years. Inside, cool air flowed out. Lights flickered on one by one, as if waking from a long sleep. The hallway was round, with walls that shined gently. Strange symbols glowed along the edges, matching those on Nira's clothes. Tom stepped in carefully. His footsteps echoed lightly. He walked through the hall, passing closed doors and silent screens. Then he found a large round room in the center. It had a single table in the middle, and above it, a soft blue light floating like a cloud. There were shapes inside the light, maps, lines, stars. A galactic map, Tom realized. The card in his hand pulsed. He placed it gently on the table. The map shifted and focused. One point began to blink slowly. A location, a place far from here. Tom stared at it. He didn't understand what it meant, but he knew this place held more than just history. It held direction. He didn't touch anything else. He didn't want to break anything or wake something that shouldn't be woken. He carefully took the card back, stepped out, and closed the door. The dome sealed behind him, returning to silence. As Tom walked back to the shop, he saw movement in the distance. Two figures stood near the transport station. They were tall and still, watching. He kept walking, heart beating a little faster. Back at the shop, Nira sat at the window. When she saw him, she opened the door before he reached it. You went there, she said. Tom nodded. I had to know. It opened for me. She looked down, her hands twisting her sleeves gently. There's a map, Tom said, and something is marked, a point far away. Nira stepped back into the room and sat down. She looked tired, like a memory had returned. That place, she said softly, was part of something greater. My people built those domes with others long ago. They stored knowledge, memories, and maps to quiet places, safe places. The blinking point you saw, it leads to one of them. Tom sat across from her. Why are they hidden? Because not everyone should find them, Nira said. They are not for power. They are for peace. But some don't understand that. They look for them to control, to take, not to learn. Tom nodded slowly. And that's why you were running. Nira looked at him. Yes, I was supposed to protect the card, but I got lost. I was afraid. And then you found me. Tom smiled gently. Maybe you were meant to be found. Nira's eyes softened. Maybe. The next morning, Tom noticed the two strangers walking through the market. They were calm, polite, asking small questions. Has anyone new arrived in town? Have you seen a girl with silver hair? People shook their heads or gave uncertain answers. Tom knew it was only a matter of time. He turned to Nira. We may have to leave. She didn't look surprised. Where will we go? Tom reached into his pocket and held up the card. Where this wants us to go. For a moment, Nira said nothing. Then, slowly, she smiled. Then let's follow it. The stars above the town looked brighter than usual. Tom stood outside the shop, holding the glowing card in his hand. Nira sat on the small bench near the door, her soft teal skin glowing faintly under the moonlight. They both knew it was time to leave. Tom had never left the planet before. not even for short trips. He worked, ate, and slept in the same place for years. But now, something inside him felt ready. The card Nira's gift had changed everything. I found a quiet cargo ship, Tom told her. It leaves tomorrow morning. It's headed toward the direction shown on the map in the dome. Nira looked at him. Do you trust the pilot? Tom nodded. Yes, old man Ray. He delivers supplies to outer stations. He doesn't ask questions. Just sets his course and drinks too much tea. Nira gave a soft smile. That sounds perfect. The next morning, they packed light. Nira wore a long gray cloak to cover her hair and arms. Tom wore a simple jacket. With the card safely hidden inside a small pouch around his neck, they boarded the cargo ship quietly. No one stopped them. The two strangers from before were still in town, but far from the dock. The ship lifted off slowly, moving into the sky. As the engines hummed gently, Tom looked through the window. The town became smaller and smaller until it disappeared among the clouds. For the first time, Nira looked peaceful. They traveled for many days through calm space. Stars passed by like silent watchers. Tom sat near the navigation console, looking at the path the car had unlocked. It wasn't on any normal map. The ship's system didn't recognize the route, but the car gave clear directions, turns, jumps, and hidden travel lines. This route was made long ago, Nira explained. Used only in special times, quiet paths, between stars others don't notice. On the sixth day, the ship reached a dark area of space. No planets, no stations, just a lonely, gray moon spinning slowly. Then the car glowed bright blue. There, Nira whispered, floating near the moon was a shape large, round, and dark. A space station, silent and sleeping. It didn't shine or blink like modern ones. It looked almost invisible from far away. Ray, the pilot, looked nervous. This wasn't on any chart. He said, Are you sure it's safe? Tom nodded. We'll be fine. Just wait for us here. Ray agreed and stayed aboard while Tom and Nira moved to the small transport pod. They flew gently toward the station. As they came close, a soft blue light appeared around the door. Nira reached into Tom's jacket and took the card. She held it up to the light. The door opened. Inside, the station was quiet. Dust floated in the air, caught by the soft lights that turned on one by one. The halls were smooth and silver. There were no signs, only glowing lines along the floor. Guiding them, it feels alive, Tom whispered. They followed the path to a wide room in the center of the station. It looked like a meeting hall, with curved chairs around a large glowing table. On the walls were symbols Tom had never seen. But Nira touched them gently like old friends. This is one of the first places, she said softly, where different people came together. Not for trade, not for war, just to speak. In the center of the table was a round plate. Nira placed the card on it. The room filled with soft humming, like distant music. Then a clear voice, gentle and smooth, spoke in many languages. It told a story. This station is a gift, built by many hands, for peace and knowledge. If you have found it, you hold the key not to power, but to memory. Use it with care. A bright star on the map above the table began to blink. That's another place, Tom said. Another safe station. Yes, Nira nodded. There are more. Suddenly, the lights changed color. A second message appeared. This one wasn't part of the old recording. It was a signal, a soft warning. Someone followed the card's path, Nira whispered. Someone else unlocked a signal. Behind us, Tom leaned closer. The two strangers, maybe, or someone they work with. They are not here to destroy, but they still don't understand. They look for something they cannot control. Tom thought for a moment. What happens now? Nira looked around the room. We have a choice. We can stay hidden, or we can share. This place, carefully, slowly, open the doors to those who come in peace. Tom sat down in one of the curved chairs. And who decides that? She smiled gently. The one who holds the key. Tom looked at the glowing card. It didn't feel like a treasure. It felt like a promise. I'll protect it, he said. I know, Nira replied. As they rested inside the peaceful station. Stars outside continued to move across the galaxy. The path ahead was still uncertain. But something had begun. Not with power. Not with fear, but with trust. Tom stood in the center of the ancient station, looking at the glowing star on the map. It pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat. That light wasn't just a star, it was a signal, a message. Somewhere, far away, another place waited, another door. Another secret. Nira stood beside him, her soft silver hair gently moving in the cool air of the station. She touched the map carefully and looked at Tom. "We should go," she said. Tom nodded. "You think someone else is coming, yes?" she said softly. "The signal is to clear now. Others will find it. Maybe not today, but soon." Tom thought for a moment. "Then we follow the path. We reach the next place before anyone else does." They returned to the transport pod, and Ray, the old cargo pilot, was waiting on the ship just as he promised. "Back already?" he asked, sipping his tea. "We need to go further," Tom said. "We have the next location." Ray raised his eyebrows. "I thought you were just delivering tools." Tom smiled. "Plans changed." Ray looked at Nira and then back at Tom. "All right, I don't know where you're headed, but I've got enough fuel for one more trip." They left the quiet moon behind and entered deep space again. The stars grew fewer, and the path became more hidden. But the car continued to guide them, glowing softly and unlocking new routes in the ship's system. These were not normal travel lanes. They were secret paths made long ago, known only to the builders of peace. As they traveled, Tom spent time studying the maps stored inside the keycard. The lines were strange, almost like a puzzle. Nira helped him understand the symbols. Each one was a name, a code, a history. These were places where people came together, she explained. They shared stories, helped each other. But then, time passed, and people forgot. Some wanted power, and others just stopped caring. Tom looked at her. "Why didn't your people protect them?" "We tried," she said, "but the builders were few, and even we began to forget." The ship moved through a quiet space field. No comets, no planets, just silence. Then, finally, they saw it. Floating between two blinking stars was a second station, larger, shaped like a wide ring with gardens growing inside. The lights were soft and green. Vines grew along the edges. Birds flew in a dome of clear glass. "It's alive," Tom said, amazed. Ray stared through the window. "That's no normal station. Looks like a dream." Tom and Nira entered alone. The keycard opened the doors once again, and the inside felt warm and calm. It wasn't just a place for machines, this was a place made for living. Plants grew in the corners, and soft music played from unseen speakers. "This was called a harmony ring," Nira said. "It was made for different beings to live together for a time. No one ruled. They just shared." Tom walked through the garden paths. The air smelled like flowers. He saw seats made in different shapes for big beings, small ones, flying ones. It was clear this place was meant for everyone. In the center of the ring was a room filled with lights and screens. When the car was placed on the center table, a voice spoke again. "You have reached the second door. Knowledge is not a prize, it is a bridge. If you hold the key, you must guide others, but choose with care." Tom listened carefully. "It's asking us to become something more, not just visitors. Maybe protectors." Nira looked thoughtful. "Yes, the card is not a map only. It is a test. It chooses who should open the rest." Tom looked at her. "But why me? I'm just me, a boy who fixes tools." "You were kind," Nira said. "You didn't ask for anything when I had nothing. That is rare. The builders knew kindness matters most." Tom smiled gently. "I didn't think it would lead to all this." Suddenly, a soft light flashed on the wall screen. A message was coming through one from outside the station. It was short. "We are near. Requesting entry. We come in peace." Nira walked to the console. "It's them." Tom felt a quiet worry. "What should we do?" "We let them speak," she said. "But the station will know if their hearts are not clear." They didn't open the doors fully. Just enough for a voice to come through. Being spoke calm, respectful. They said they followed the signal and only wanted to learn. Tom and Nira looked at each other. "Maybe we give them a The soft light in the Harmony Ring station flickered gently. As Tom and Nira stood before the communication panel, voices came through, calm and respectful. The two beings who spoke said they followed the signal from the keycard. They claimed to want only to learn, to understand the old places and the meaning behind them. Nira looked at Tom. "We must be careful, but we should listen." Tom nodded. His heart beat quietly. He had never been part of something so important before. The station felt alive, watching, waiting for the right choice. The voices explained their story. They were part of Nira's people, the same kind she belonged to, but they were from a distant world that was now changing in ways they could not stop. Their knowledge was lost, and their leaders asked for help. They said the old stations held answers, knowledge that might save their world. Tom listened closely. "Do you believe them?" Nira took a deep breath. "I want to. They speak honestly. But the builders made these stations for peace, not power. We must protect that." Tom thought about the glowing keycard in his hand. It had chosen him. Now, it was up to him to decide who could come in. The station systems hummed. A new message appeared on the screens. The key holder must decide who may enter. All others must wait outside until peace is proven. Tom turned to Nira. "How do we know they are peaceful?" She smiled softly. "This station tests hearts. It will reveal the truth." Tom pressed a button on the panel. The door slid open slowly, wide enough for the two visitors to step inside, but only one at a time. The first visitor entered, a tall figure with smooth green skin and eyes full of hope. She looked around the station with quiet wonder. "This place," she said softly, "is a gift from the past. We are grateful to be here." Tom saw no fear or anger in her. He nodded. "You may stay." The second visitor was smaller, with pale blue skin and gentle hands. She came next, her voice steady. "We wish to learn, to share, and to heal. We will respect this place." Tom and Nira both felt the calm truth in her words. The station began to glow softly, as if accepting them. Over the next days, the visitors explored the Harmony Ring with Tom and Nira. They found old texts, maps, and stories from many worlds. The visitors shared their own stories of struggles and hope, and Tom felt the station becoming a bridge connecting past and future, different people, and new friends. One afternoon, in the main meeting room, Tom asked the visitors about their world. "Our home is changing," the tall visitor explained. "We have lost much knowledge, and with it, balance. The stations hold wisdom to help us find our way again." Nira nodded. "Then we must protect this place together. It is a light for all who seek peace." Tom smiled. And it all started with a small kindness, a lost girl, a keycard, and a human who helped. The visitors looked at Tom with respect. "You have a brave heart," they said. Tom laughed softly. "I'm just someone who did what was right." As the days passed, the Harmony Ring station filled with quiet life. Different beings came, one by one, following the keycard's path or the new signal it sent. Each visitor came with open hands and hearts, and each left with hope and friendship. Tom became the quiet guardian of the station, learning more about the stars and the old builders. Nira became a guide and teacher, sharing the stories of her people and the meaning behind the keycard. Together, they made sure the station remained a place for everyone, not a place of power, not a place of fear, but a place of peace. The keycard hung on the wall, glowing softly behind glass, a reminder that sometimes the smallest actions can open the greatest doors. And that kindness can change the universe. Months had passed since Tom and Nira had discovered the Harmony Ring station and opened its doors to others. The once quiet and forgotten place had become alive with gentle voices and soft footsteps. Visitors from many worlds came to learn, share, and help each other. The station was no longer a secret. Tom stood in the main hall, watching the visitors. Some were tall and strong, with colorful skin. Others were small and gentle, with soft voices. There were beings who could fly, and others who moved slowly. All of them smiled as they spoke quietly or helped tend to the gardens inside the ring. Nira walked beside Tom, her silver hair glowing softly in the light. "Look at them," she said. They are learning. They are finding hope. Tom nodded. All because you trusted me. Because you gave me the key card. Nira smiled. You gave me kindness when I was lost. That was the real key. Tom touched the small box on the wall where the key card rested. It glowed faintly behind the glass, shining like a small star. One day, a group of visitors gathered in the meeting room. They had come from a distant planet, one that was rebuilding after a long time of struggle. They told stories of hope and of how the knowledge from the old stations helped them find peace again. Tom listened with pride. He never thought a small act, helping a lost girl, will lead to this. Nira spoke softly. The stations are not just buildings. They are bridges, bridges between people, between times, between hopes, Tom agreed. And now, they are bridges. Between worlds. The visitors smiled, and Tom felt a quiet joy. He understood that peace was not just a word. It was an action, a choice, a journey. One afternoon, Tom and Nira walked through the garden paths. Flowers of many colors bloomed under the soft glass dome. Birds sang quietly, and light danced on the walls. I never imagined this, Tom said. A place where everyone belongs. Nira looked at him. Neither did I, but it happened because someone cared. Tom smiled. Kindness can change the universe. They sat on a bench and watched the stars through the glass. The station was quiet, peaceful, and full of life. Tom felt grateful. Grateful for the lost alien girl who trusted him, for the keycard that opened hidden doors, for the chance to be part of something bigger than himself. And he knew one thing for sure. No matter how small a kind act might seem, it can grow into something wonderful, because sometimes the key to changing everything is simply helping someone who is lost.